I am not going to shout out my real name, but I want to tell you a story of this one of the most classic movies of all time that has been out for many years. Was a movie that everyone has seen as a kid. It was The Wizard of Oz. It was a very good movie of children films with The Lion King, Ice Age, Moana, Frozen, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and lots of other children films that have been our childhood for many years to come to this day. What most people do know about The Wizard of Oz is a children's movie that was made in 1939 before World War II, and it was a movie that most of our grandparents and our parents have seen when they were kids. And they have shown us the movie when we were young. To this day, I have been watching the movie non-stop. To this day, as The Wizard of Oz was one of the favorite movies as a kid. I am an 18-year-old Wizard of Oz fan, and I love everything that is Wizard of Oz related, stuff like movies, plays, books, and even toys. I have been collecting this kind of stuff for many of years, but what I heard from people on Facebook is they said there was a violent version of Wizard of Oz on my group called Wizard of Oz for Everyone. The next day I got home from work to see a bunch of notifications from the people who were in my Wizard of Oz group. I never checked my group notification on Facebook often because I was busy with many other things in my real life. There was something someone posted about 20 minutes ago and it said, "I know why The Wizard of Oz was not released in 1936 and it was never made to be seen to the public until 1939. It was because the version was very violent and was way too scary for children to enjoy watching." Then I scroll more and more through the group posts that I see. Someone also said that it had violence and even gore. I had no clue on what they were talking about, so I posted on my group that I was going to a garage sale this weekend to hope to find anything related to Wizard of Oz. People in my group said, "Hope you find something you like or that you don't have." The next day it was Saturday and it was around 9 o'clock in the morning, so I drove my car around to find a garage sale which was hosted by an old man who appeared to be around age 75. Even it looked boring enough, maybe my luck will find anything with Wizard of Oz related things in the garage sale. I parked my car and greeted the old man as he greeted me back. I looked around but did not find anything that I was interested in until I found a box of VHS tapes that were being sold for 10 cents a videotape. I looked inside the box to find some old movies that I like. There was a few Disney tapes that I wanted to get, so I grabbed at least 4 VHS tapes that I did not have and that I want. Then I saw an odd VHS tape. It had nothing on it but a sticker that was a blue star. It was a bit dusty, so I blew the dust away to see gold marker writing that said Wizard of Oz 1936. I was shocked because maybe the people in my Wizard of Oz group on Facebook were right about a violent version of Wizard of Oz. But I was still not sure if I should believe it or not. I walked up to the old man and asked about the VHS with a blue star sticker on it. And I also asked the old man on where he got this strange VHS tape from. He said that years ago his grandfather and his father were employees on making movies around the 1930s and 1940s. And even the half of the 1950s, and he was given the strange VHS tape from his grandfather before he passed away. But he also told me that he never watched it when he got the VHS, so I paid him the VHS tape with the blue star sticker along with the other VHS tapes that I wanted and drove home to check out the VHS tape, with the blue star on the tape. When I got home, the first thing I did was I took a picture of it and sent it through a private messaging on Facebook to my group members of my Wizard of Oz group. They were shocked and told me not to watch it. I thought they were being silly, like I never want to know, but I wanted to see what this VHS had to say about it. What people had been saying, so I went to the VCR and I blew the dust away from it a while of not being used. So I went to the VCR and I blew the dust away from it after a while of not being used. I rewind the VHS tape, and as I waited for the tape to finish rewinding, I ordered pizza, and it was only 40 minutes before my pizza came. After the pizza came, the tape was all over finished rewinding, so I grabbed myself a soda and along with the pizza sat myself onto the couch. My older sister along with my parents were working, so this was a great time for me to watch this strange VHS tape that I got at the garage sale that I went to today. I pressed play on my remote and the movie started playing first. There was the warning description which froze for 5 seconds, then played again. And then there was the MGM logo. It came on. As the logo came on, the screen started flickering. I was about to eject the VHS to find out why when the screen stopped flickering. Then the Wizard of Oz movie came on with opening credits, but I noticed something was odd. The music for the opening credits for the movie was playing backwards. What showed on the opening credits were all the actors that I do know that played the characters in the movie. And that was all I know. And the rest were people that I had no idea who they were, and then the screen faded to black after the opening credits. And then the words came up on the screen saying copyright 1936. I knew this is what most people on my Wizard of Oz group on Facebook have been posting since I went to work a few days ago. Then the screen started to play. The movie, it started off with Dorothy and her dog Toto. They were running away from a thing, it looked like, but it wasn't the quality of the film, but it was a shitty, so I could barely hear what Dorothy was saying. But when I picked up what she said, she tried to kill you, didn't she? I was like, okay, hurt or something like that. I am okay with a children's film, but killed? What the fuck? Dorothy never used the word kill in the movie. In fact, she was never like that in the movie at all. The next scene shows Dorothy trying to tell her Auntie Em and Uncle Henry about what was going on. But I noticed something on Auntie Em's face. She looked depressed, like if she was about to commit suicide or something. All she said was, "Not now, Dorothy. I don't have time for your shit." I was shocked of what her aunt said to Dorothy. There was never swearing in The Wizard of Oz. In fact, there was no swearing whatsoever at all. Dorothy was trying to confess something to her aunt and uncle, but she couldn't, so she ended up walking to a nearby haystack where she begins to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. While she was singing, the screen froze for 20 seconds. Then it played again and I knew something was not right at all. After the song ended, it started to play the music where it was a sign that there was a character whom Margaret Hamilton played in the movie. I knew who she was playing at the whole time, which she played at the Wicked Witch of the West and Mrs. Gulch. I never liked Mrs. Gulch since she was mean and nasty, but I liked the Wicked Witch of the West a lot more than Mrs. Gulch. She said, "Mr. Gale, I want to see your wife right away about fucking Dorothy." She said as in it sounded like she was mean and shouting, but it felt more of a scream to me. "What did Dorothy do?" asked Uncle Henry. "Her dog tried to bite the living shit out of me and her dog bit my ankle," she said in a rough and gruff voice. Then the scene cuts to Mr. Gulch in the house with Dorothy. "Toto and her aunt and uncle, that dog is a fucking mutant. I am taking him to the sheriff and making sure he is cooked alive and destroyed." Then I was like, the fuck? Mrs. Gulch never swore in the movie at all. Then Dorothy tries to beg her aunt and uncle to not let Mrs. Gulch take Toto when they did not, and they placed Toto in the basket so Mrs. Gulch can take him away. Dorothy then went away from the scene to cry. As the scene cuts, Toto was able to escape Mrs. Gulch to get back home to Dorothy. As the scene cuts to Dorothy crying, it showed something which it looked like bleach. Then I was like, what was Dorothy thinking? Suicide just because Mrs. Gulch took Toto? I knew it was hard to let an animal go, but committing suicide? Okay, now I noticed that was taken too far. Toto jumped from the window and Dorothy was able to turn around to be happy that Toto came back. "We got to get away, we've got to run away," is what Dorothy said as the next scene shows Dorothy along with Toto walking down the road where the music changed. It sounded like Silent Heaven soundtrack from Silent Hill. It lasted for at least 2.5 minutes when Dorothy and Toto ran into Professor Marvel, who saw Dorothy and Toto walking. The scene of Dorothy and Toto in the cart went pretty normal until when Dorothy and Toto were returning home in a huge windstorm. I knew that this was the scene where there was a tornado storm. The next scene cuts to Auntie Em and Uncle Henry, along with the rest of Dorothy's family. They went into the cellar to hide as Dorothy went inside the house with Toto screaming Auntie Em's name for at least 50 seconds. Then Dorothy was hit on the head by a broken window as the screen faded to black and said, "This is real, not fake. You about to see the evil eyes of the wicked and scream of the fallen." Then the screen faded back to the movie and the scene where Dorothy, who is dreaming, wakes up and the scene was good, as if there was no bloopers or anything else. After the tornado scene ended, Dorothy wakes up as she and Toto walked out of the house to see that she was not in Kansas. Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. I knew that line ever since I watched The Wizard of Oz from the 1939 version of it. Then Glinda, who appears in a bubble, looked depressed. She was in that facial expression like if she was about to hang herself. She asks Dorothy if she is a good witch or a bad witch, and she says, "Shut the fuck up, bitch. I am not a witch. I am Dorothy Gale from Kansas." Then Glinda asked if Toto is a witch, and Dorothy replied saying that Toto was her dog and not a witch. Her voice a gruff, and the song that Glinda was the Munchin' a Munchkin sang the song, and it was very much like 1939 version, when all of a sudden a big puff of smoke came up and I knew it was the Wicked Witch of the West. She was having an evil smile like Freddy Krueger did in the Nightmare of Elm Street movies. "I thought you said she was dead," Dorothy said in a shaky voice. Then the audio went so shitty that I could not hear a word Glinda told Dorothy about who the Wicked Witch of the West is. When the witch walks up to Dorothy and she had the evil glare like Freddy Krueger did in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, "Did you kill my fucking sister, you whore?" she screamed at Dorothy. But with the audio that improved after I could not hear what Glinda said, the scream that the Witch of the West did sounded like a ghostly scream. "No, it was an accident. I did not mean to kill anyone," Dorothy said. "Well, my little pretty, since I don't give a fuck, you shall die." The witch's lines that made my spine shiver a bit also made me like, what the fuck? Why is this Witch of the West saying that Dorothy is a slut and stuff like that? Then Glinda, who looked angry herself, says, "Are you looking for the ruby slippers?" she asked. The Witch of the West, who was walking toward the ruby slippers, disappeared and was very angry. The rest of the scene went like the 1939 version of the movie until the part happened. "Just try to stay the fuck out of my way. Just try, I'll fucking kill you, my pretty, and your little dog too." Then I was like, that is not what she said in the movie from 1939. Then Glinda tells Dorothy to follow the yellow brick road to get to the Emerald City to see the Wizard of Oz, who will get Dorothy back home. She met up with the Scarecrow, who wanted a brain. They met up with the Tin Man, who wanted a heart, and soon they met up with the Cowardly Lion, who wants to have courage. All that went well without any faults or anything, not so kid-friendly until this scene appears with the Wicked Witch of the West, who was flying in the sky as Dorothy and her friends looked out from the inside of the Emerald City to see writing on the sky. I was shocked because it did not say "Surrender, Dorothy." It said "Fuck you, Dorothy." Then I almost started laughing because it was funny, but then I said, why saying that in a children's movie? Dorothy and her friends walk up to the door to see the wizard and talk to the guard on the door that they want to see him, but after a while the guard tells Dorothy and her friends that the wizard says, "Go away." Then Dorothy begins to break down into tears. I started to cry. It was very heartbreaking. But what the wizard said was mean. I stopped the video. I went to the washroom to splash my face with cold water. After around half an hour of crying, I went back to watch the rest of the film. It shows the guard letting Dorothy and her friends inside to see the wizard, who they told him that they want and they came to see the wizard for. Then the wizard said, "Bring me the broomstick from the Wicked Witch of the West." Then the screen faded to black and then came on with Haunted Forest. The music was sounding like it came from Five Nights at Freddy's 4 playing in the background. This is when things begin to mess up. The Wicked Witch of the West was looking at her crystal ball to eat the Tin Man's skin inside out like he was nothing but a burning acid pile on the floor. And for the lion, cut him open alive while hanging him upside down. The witch said, next scene shows the flying monkeys heading toward Dorothy and her friends. Dorothy and Toto begin to run, but everyone else did not get as lucky as Dorothy and Toto were. One of the flying monkeys had a lighter and the light the Scarecrow on fire. He was burning alive. As the fire began to spread all over him, his screams and cries for help lasted for 15 seconds, until he was nothing but burnt clothes and straw. Two other flying monkeys poured acid on the Tin Man, which he began to melt very fast as the acid was eating the metal. It lasted for 6 seconds until nothing was burning acid pile on the floor. The next scene shows the lion being hung upside down by the monkey took a sharp knife and started to cut him open. This scene is the most disgusting part of the flying monkey's fight because the angle never changed at all. The lion's organs began to fall as he was soon having his head ripped off from one of the flying monkeys. The scene lasted for 30 seconds until the screen cuts to Dorothy and Toto trying to run away from the flying monkeys. Dorothy's friends were dead, but Dorothy and Toto were running away from the flying monkeys. Until she and Toto were both grabbed by the monkeys, the screen then faded to black and cuts to the front of the Wicked Witch's castle. Then it shows the Wicked Witch of the West looking at Toto. She had hungry eyes as her mouth started to drool. "What a nice little dog," she says as she puts Toto in a basket. "And you, my dear, what an unexpected pleasure. It's so kind of you to see me in my loneliness." Dorothy was strapped onto a table, which we never saw that in The Wizard of Oz from 1939. "What are you going to do with my dog? Give him back to me, please." Dorothy cries as she was begging the witch to give her back Toto. "Certainly, certainly, when you give me those slippers," the Wicked Witch of the West said as she transformed into a lioness that looked a lot like Nala from The Lion King. "But Glinda told me not to," Dorothy said as the flying monkey took Toto from the basket and gave it to the green and black lioness. She began to eat Toto by biting him with her lioness teeth, and Toto was bleeding to death. He soon died at least 15 seconds later after oozing blood from his body. Then the lioness, who was green, used magic to disappear all the bones from the inside of Toto, and then she ate him whole like a snake eating an animal whole. "That was good, my pretty," the green and black lioness transformed back into the Wicked Witch of the West, with blood on her teeth and bloodstains on her black dress, which they were hard to see. Then the Wicked Witch of the West put on her Freddy Krueger knife gloves and she walked toward Dorothy, who was crying but was also angry. "You fucking ate Toto. You are such a slut who slept with the wizard." Then I was like, since when did the Witch of the West ever have sex with the wizard? Whatever Dorothy said, I end up acting like, what the fuck? Then the Wicked Witch of the West begins to shout back, "You, my pretty, are my dinner." She laughs as she cuts Dorothy open and eats her organs. I felt like I was going to be sick at this point, but after 20 seconds, the witch ate Dorothy until she was nothing but a flesh corpse on the table. She was able to get the ruby slippers as the screen faded to black and the cuts to Kansas, where Auntie Em and Uncle Henry walked into Dorothy's room to see blood and guts all over the room. And they screamed in horror as the screen faded to the ending credits that said, "The End." And the cast was all the same and the screen faded to black and then cuts to static. I ejected the VHS tape as I was too scared of this horror version of The Wizard of Oz. I stayed up till like 3 in the morning because I could not sleep after I watched Dorothy being killed. The next day I went to my Wizard of Oz group on Facebook and messaged everyone in my group of what I saw. I sent pictures and even a few videos of footage in private messaging since I did not want to post it for everyone on Facebook to see because Facebook could ban me from the website. Everyone in my Wizard of Oz group were shocked about what I found, so I decided to talk to the old man on what I saw when I went to his garage sale. I was lucky enough to remember the street name and house number at the same time. I was then so thrilled to remember the VHS tape. The old man walked me inside his house as I sat down with him on the couch. He asked me on the VHS tape that it said, The Wizard of Oz 1936, and I told him on when I watched it and what I saw. I showed him photos and a few videos of the footage that I saw. The old man was shocked about it and said to throw it away when I got home. So after my visit with the old man where I got the VHS tape from that said Wizard of Oz 1936, I threw away the tape, and a week later I went to see if the tape was in the garbage. It wasn't. I looked around my whole house, but it was nowhere to be found. I never seen the VHS tape again. If you come across a VHS tape with a blue star sticker on it that says Wizard of Oz 1936, just don't watch it or your childhood will be ruined. Alright guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys have, be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a comment in the comment section down below telling me what other videos you guys want to see, leave links down there telling me what videos, what stories, This video is requested by a girl named Izzy. It's her birthday today. Happy 19th birthday, Izzy. I appreciate the story. I really enjoyed reading this story. By the way, excuse me, the link to this story will be down in the description below, as well with the links to my Instagram, my Snapchat, my Twitter. Be sure to go follow me on all of those, and I will be sure to see you guys in the next video. Peace out.